everyone, and welcome back to IGN Live at E3 2018. I'm Miranda Sanchez, and joining me is David Vonderhaar, Treyarch Studio Design Director. And if you're here, there's only one thing we can talk about, Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
We like Black Ops 4.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I'm very excited to see what you guys are doing. There's so many changes, of course, Blackout, which I'm going to ask you about, of course. Let's hope he says something. But first, let's get into multiplayer. There's so many big changes there, right?
So many big changes after all this time. You know, 10 years of making Black Ops 1, 2, and 3, you ask yourself, where do you go with this now, right? Mm-hmm. The main thing here is that the Black Ops 4 multiplayer is a game with a lot more tactical nature to it. Mm-hmm. Sort of inserts some decision-making in the combat loop when you have to heal yourself. The Fog of War, which is a different take on situational awareness. The specialists themselves are a lot more refined than you saw in 3. Very focused on the job at hand with them and what their purpose is and how they work together in a very team-centric 5-on-5 game.
Right, so kind of going into that team gameplay, what made your team want to kind of dive into that big idea of like team composition and tactics, and obviously Fog of War is a big thing too, right?
So it's a Call of Duty game, and it's a Black Ops game, and you can go out there and get your guns, and you can slay and do all the things that you'd expect to be able to do in a game like that. But there are lots of people who like Black Ops. There are Black Ops 1 fans, and Black Ops 2 fans, and Black Ops 3 fans, and some are fans of all of that. And Black Ops should be a game that every gamer can enjoy. Mm-hmm. And by having different types of specialists and how they work together as a team to be successful can bring some people around or back or in to play the game, and they don't just have to be good at movement or the gunplay itself.
Right. With this, you guys introduce a healer, which is a pretty big deal,
Yeah, Crash is a medic.
Yep.
Has some capability that allows him to actually heal the players. In Black Ops 4, multiplayer players have more health than they've had historically. With 150, which gives us more room to maneuver with how the weapons are finessed and tuned. And all that stuff's really important to creating a tactical experience.
Right. When I first saw Crash announced, I was very curious from the community is like how many people want to play, a medic in Call of Duty? Because when I think Call of Duty, I think quick time to kill, high kill streaks. I want to be on the top of the leaderboard. And it's been really awesome seeing everybody come and say, hey, like that's a role I'd love to have in a Call of Duty. And I'm curious to see, like, how are those players going to be rewarded outside of just having high kill streaks or,
I mean, right off the top, like, it's still Call of Duty. You still have to be effective with your weapon.
Sure.
It still is a first-person shooter, right? But it's not just about that now. It can be about more than just how good you are with the weapon skill in any particular situation at any particular time. So, there's not a high emphasis on kills. It's not how you advance the agenda for your team. It's not necessarily how you advance the agenda for yourself, right? So score plays a big part in these games, and damage output plays a big part in these games, so you just sort of de-emphasize at the macro level that, hey, kills, right? And they still matter, and they'll always matter.
Right.
But it's not, there has to be more in other ways to be able to participate, because not everybody can be the best Slayer on the team. There will only be one best Slayer.
Yeah, it's like those Twitch skills go away after a while, So it's definitely good to have those extra roles.
Yeah.
So keeping in line with the specialists, which do you think is the most challenging to master? Obviously, you've introduced so many new ones. You've reworked a few old ones.
Yeah, well, that's a personal opinion, right? Yeah. So there's lots of answers to this question. I mean,
that's a lot better than most of us.
The interesting part about this for us is that each has their own kind of road to mastery. And in my case, I think Torque is one that has a particular road to mastery that's very uniquely challenging. And that, how do you do crowd control or lane management, right? Mm-hmm. Placement, timing of that placement of a barricade, its shield, or concertina wire, the razor wire that makes you move through. That's something that you get that right, and the advantage is really good. The cost of not getting it right, is where that starts to get expensive.
Yeah, that's what you have, hopefully, a medic to run in and help you there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And like team compositions and pairings are so important. And in this one, you can only have one specialist per team, right?
That's right.
Of the same kind.
Yeah, correct. So you have there's a more specialists than there are positions on a team to begin with. So how that team comp matters is really a matter of personal play style and preference, right? So you could take, and this is a very simple example, but if you are, say, Firebreak, and you have a crowd control device that is area denial with the radiation, and you are keeping an area clear of enemies. You're not using your weapon in that situation. but you're making meaningful contributions to the team. Everyone else on your team is using their weapons to keep people away from there. And then once you get yourself kind of at that position, it's called, where we could say overclocking. It's where you're actually draining your own health to maintain that area denial radius field. And then you come along with Crash and then heal in that situation, then he could extend that clock even longer. So there's an example of two people who are not using their weapons, who are doing meaningful contributions to the team. And there's an example of how you get more sort of a tactical nature out of a game without taking away the weapon skill, right?
Right, and I think that's maybe one of the most obvious pairings we've seen so far, because if there's an obvious drain of health for high damage output, you want someone to give them back that health a little bit, so then your team benefits generally. What other compositions do you like so far that maybe we haven't seen as much?
Yeah, so and maybe some stuff that you haven't seen yet that are coming, but there is the deployable barricade, and what's pretty fascinating about that is that's part of its story, but then if it's there and someone else is using, what does that look like? So there's a little teaser for you all about other things that will happen. So they're subtle. Some are purposely designed, and others are completely emergent in ways that we're not expecting, right? So if you distract somebody in a certain way, with that, force that player off to the left or the right to be run into someone else's trap or run into some other player who's posted up, right? So you get these interesting, when we play test, we see new things all the time. We're like, oh, I wish I was smart enough to think about that and put it in the design document, but that's the part of this that makes these games fun, is the emergent nature of those things.
Yeah, and I think whenever I jump into a Call of Duty, I know obviously learning the map is a big, huge thing, but then also learning how to make sure those specialist classes are as effective as they can be on that new map too is going to be really challenging. I think going to be a lot of fun to figure out as we play. So speaking of maps, you guys just announced Back in Black map pack as a kind of a pre-order bonus.
Slums, Turbine, Firing Range, and Summit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So have those maps been altered at all to kind of help with the team composition factor?
The maps have been altered to make them, in small ways, to make them appropriate for Black Ops 4.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be not necessarily specifically as to say to help with the team comp situation, right?
Right, I guess it's more of like, because there's such a big focus on tactics and the flow and lane control, there could be like, say, a barrel in the way that would mess up something.
Yeah, so anything,
really cool
all the prop placement
kind
and all those kinds of things. And if it still made sense, you want to keep it in there, right?
Right.
But those maps have a very distinct flavor and style of playing that players are used to. And it might have been a long time since you've seen jungle, right? So when you get into jungle, it's got to be jungle. It has to be jungle.
Right. It's like the feel, the identity is there. But
I love these 4 maps because Black Ops 4 is a very grounded game, right? There's no wall running, there's no thrust jumping, and all the maps that are in that pack are maps that were constructed around that kind of grounded play. So it's fun for us to go and revisit that stuff. It's like, oh yeah, okay, that's what we were doing right then, right? Because in some cases, that's almost 8 years ago. It's a long time. Yeah,
it's been a good bit.
Yeah.
This series has been around for a long time, and it's very exciting to see this culmination of what you guys want to try to do in this next iteration. So kind of going back to the specialists, you've said that there's like kind of the multiplayer universe at play, and not really looking to do a very full-blown campaign as we've seen in other games.
Yep.
Instead, kind of focusing on solo missions.
Yeah, specialist solo missions.
Yeah.
Right. So this is an interesting new way to kind of tell a small story around the specialists themselves, right? I mean, look at the box art. So you get to experience what the specialists are like, learn a little bit about them, learn about their abilities, and in this way that sort of anybody can kind of rally to, and then you'll have a way to start a whole new world, right, with those characters.
Right, and I kind of like that idea of like, this is no longer just me dropping into Call of Duty. It's me playing as these characters and learning about them and like kind of exploring that universe. So about how long are these solo missions? Can you say anything about them, or like can you give any more detail?
They're small. They're small and discreet. I don't think we've actually listed specifically how many or how long they are, so I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
The bosses are watching.
You can troll with me.
I can tell you.
It's fine, yeah.
I'm sure. You and all the people watching.
Oh, no. Don't worry about these people out here. Great. They won't tell anybody else.
No, there's no doubt. Spies amongst you. I see some of them right now. Hi, guys.
Oh. Hey, everyone. So, continuing on, let's move on to zombies.
Yeah, 3 zombies experiences on disc. So if you're a big zombies person, you're really going to like Black Ops 4. So that crew has been cranking it. I was looking at some of the weapons that they had. Whoops. There is some amazing stuff that here's the thing about zombies fans, and if I spoke about zombies in any meaningfully direct way that I want to, I would just actually upset all the zombies fans.
Oh no!
Because they need to experience zombies on their own terms. But
sure.
there is obviously the RMS Titanic, which map that we announced to reveal.
That Titanic reveal was very good. I was
you like that?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, very clever
very
stuff.
Nice.
And then remastering Mob of the Dead, which is now Blood of the Dead, and then finally 4. Yeah. So the is it about melee combat? I don't know. We just like to stir the pot at Treyarch.
That's definitely what it seems like, and of course, very excited to see more of that. Melee with zombies seems like it could be good, though. I mean, just chucking off some heads.
Yeah.
That's good.
Potentially.
And maybe in an arena. Maybe.
Yep,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Who can tell?
Man, there will be a whole campaign of zombie stuff to be delivered closer to reveal. It's part of the fun.
Okay, so we're gonna push this a little more.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know what you're gonna ask me about.
Can you say?
Does it involve the word black in it?
Well, that's what this whole interview is about. There's something in that.
Yeah.
For all.
All right, well, you're going to have to, I don't know, go for it.
So when are we going to hear about Blackout? Like, we want to know. What is this Battle Royale mode? How are you guys doing it the Black Ops way?
Yeah, what does it mean to do it the Black Ops way, right? So, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I can't.
Oh,
no,
you're killing me.
So, like, we're saving the best for last. Blackout is the best, and we're going to save it for last.
Oh.
And I'm sure that we'll come correct with all the gory details. In fact, our good friend David Young is in the audience, who is personally responsible for many of the amazing features in Blackout.
So you mean I need to go find him after and
yeah,
we'll
he's. I don't believe that he's. Look, Black Ops. You don't do this unless you feel like you can do it in a way that Black Ops fans would appreciate and respect, and it needs to be propped up and delivered. And when we start talking about this thing, for me, it's like I want to talk about it and I want to give it to you all at the same time. I think it is in the abstract, it would be too far-fetched.
All right. Well, Black Ops 4 is out on October 12th. So you don't have too much time until you can reveal it. So I hope it's in.
I know. I'm rushing back to the studio right away.
Okay. Well, we got it. Well, thank you
it.
so much for joining me. And, of course, for more on E3, keep it on IGN.